What are some interesting or fun Christmas traditions you follow? My best friend and I started a tradition of celebrating Christmas Eve together. Actual day is a little loose on interpreting based on life. We switch it up each year, but we always dress up in Christmas outfits, have dinner, some kind of activity and a movie. At dinner we also exchange a book we picked for the other that we wrote a personal note inside. Then afterwards, we create a magnet for each other of our favorite photo from the night. My family has a tradition of leaving riddles on cards and guessing what the gift is before opening. We go around one by one, reading our hint out loud so everyone can guess, then open it and show the room. Ends up taking like 5 hours for everyone to get through their gifts, but it's always a fun time. Wife and I order from the same Chinese restaurant every Christmas Eve. We eat from there almost exclusively on Christmas Eve. We don't do much Chinese through the year regularly. Started one Christmas Eve when we were both feeling lazy and hasn't stopped. 12 plus years now. Every year my wife and I buy an ornament for our tree that corresponds with something that happened that year. So we have a tree filled with all of these weird wacky ornaments like a tennis ball. We started playing tennis that year. Swedish chef, Europe trip, ship captain Nutcracker, our first cruise, amongst many others. It's such a fun tradition in December to debate what we to get and then finding something and then reliving them all when we put them up. Every Christmas the kids in the house have wrapping paper put over the entrances to their rooms so they get to rip through it in the morning. It originally started as a way to keep a certain kid in when he kept coming out early and opening presents before everyone was awake. My grandpa would always get up on the roof about an hour after our bedtime and stomp around on the roof with sleigh bells. Edit. Thanks for the awards. Beeper would have been proud to hear that his Christmas spirit had gotten noticed on the internets. We have signs all over our house spelling out Leon instead of Noel. It started out as a joke because my dad is dyslexic, but it stuck, and we even named our dog Leon, and we've been doing it since I can remember. Every year for the last 8 years my sister and I gift each other a weird thing that makes the other one laugh. It started with when our house almost got repossessed just before Christmas and everything was so terrible that we just wanted to make each other laugh. Highlights include 12 packs of frozen potato smiley faces to resolve a long forgotten childhood argument, 3 chocolate tubes filled with teeny rubber ducks instead of chocolate, a lucky dip which involved hiding small gifts in socks, and this year a bag of potatoes with Nicolas Cage's face blue tacked on every individual potato. My brother and I stay at my mother's house on Christmas Eve with our families every year. We still sit at the top of the stairs on Christmas morning until my mother tells us we can come down to the living room to see what Santa left us. We are both in our 30s and our wives and kids now sit on the stairs as well. It's getting pretty crowded, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Every year my family buys each other member a gag/joke/small gift, then writes a poem about it for the recipient to read on Christmas Eve. It's probably the highlight of the entire season for me, as it's always filled with laughter at how terrible we all are at poetry, no matter how old we all get. This is a really fun way to bring everyone back to that root joy of spending time together. This year it will be virtual, but still fun. As soon as this pandemic is over and we can once again have Christmas gatherings, my sister and I can get back to smacking the hell out of each other with cardboard wrapping paper tubes. We're in our 50s. BTW. My parents were broke when I was a kid, but you'd never know it from Christmas. They always went all out, put money on credit cards, etc. One Christmas we were particularly broke, but dad went out and spent probably most of his paycheck on last minute gifts. When we got home, my mom had been with us all day, and since there was no money, she hadn't gone food shopping. All we had were some cheap hot dogs and canned beans. My parents put the beans in a pot over the fire, grabbed the hot dog cooker from when we went camping, and threw the dogs on over the fire too. My sister and I loved it so much, we did it again the following Christmas. Eventually we weren't quite so poor. The $2 hot dogs became Nathans, then Sabrats, then butcher bratwursts. The beans went to B&M, then eventually fancy gourmet shit. but my sister and I are now adults with our own families. And even on years where we are not together, our entire family has hot dogs and beans on Christmas Eve. Edit. Thanks for all the kind comments everyone. And thanks for my first Reddit silver too. Since my family won't be spending the holidays together, this really brightened my day. Merry Christmas. Edit 2. Wow. My first gold. Thanks again everyone. Glad you all enjoyed hearing about our holiday tradition. Merry Christmas. Edit 3. A platinum. Thank you so much. I truly can't believe it. Merry Christmas. My uncle always hosts Christmas at his house, since family comes from all over, and he has beds for everyone to stay over. On his property is about an 150-foot diameter pond. Every Christmas morning we wake up and build a giant bonfire to get ready for the impending shock we will feel later on around noon. We also try to get a decent drunk blanket going for those that are of our family's required drinking age, just in case. Come noon on Christmas Day, we do the polar plunge to rid ourselves of last year's crap and look forward to next year. We huddle around this bonfire while my grandpa passes around shots to help warm up because that pond is ducking freezing. Edit. Told my uncle about how a lot of you seem interested in this, and he said if you guys don't have plans next year or are alone, feel free to come. He only asks to bring a tent/sleeping bag and a treat for their German shepherds. A buffet for 10. For 2. So my wife and I spend the days leading up to Christmas Eve going around and buying a selection of the poshest party food from the likes of M&S, Booths, Waitrose. On Christmas Eve we will bathe the kids, 10 and 5, play board games with them, watch movies etc. It's bed for 9 PM and 10 PM for them both. The oven then goes on. 30 to 40 minutes later we have enough food to feed at least 10. But it's just for the 2 of us, and we always do pretty well and are stuffed by 11:30 PM. A few glasses of wine or G&Ts keep the merriment going. We arrange the gifts at around 1 AM and it's off to bed. Excited ourselves. We usually end up discussing what food was our favorite and my wife makes a note to buy again the following year. Apart from seeing the kids' faces on Christmas morning, this is by far my favorite part of Christmas. I hope everyone has a good one this year and is able to fill their bellies and enjoy the company of those you love. We have quite a few. We open Christmas season by putting up the tree the day after Thanksgiving and watching Polar Express. We've done this for so long that my 20 and 17-year-olds have no memory of not doing it, and my 13-year-old has never had a Christmas where we didn't do this. My youngest and I make a list of holiday movies and keep track of all the ones we watch. We shoot for one movie a day starting December 1st up until Christmas, with some movies earmarked for specific days. We also watch as many holiday themed episodes of our favorite TV shows as we can. The weekend before Christmas is when we make hot cocoa, pile into the car, put on Christmas music, and drive around to look at light displays. December 23rd is cookie day. I get up early and spend the day baking. I always make way too much. The kids help when they get up. I watch A White Christmas in the morning, and we watch Christmas with the Cranks in the afternoon. This also happens to be the anniversary of my mom-in-law passing. We always buy a Christmas bouquet of flowers and tell stories about her. The kids were young when she died, so they have a foggy memory. They like to hear about her. She was an amazing grandma. Christmas Eve is when we hand out new pajamas and watch Home Alone. Home Alone is our favorite Christmas movie, so we cap off the season with it. Christmas Day is usually when I do this incredible BBQ brisket. This year we did that early in the month and are having a simple meat and cheese spread for Christmas Day. That way I can spend less time in the kitchen and more time playing board games and video games. For the past decade, Santa has made it a habit of bringing us all Steam gift cards and a huge stack of board games. Pajamas all day, good food, board games. It's perfect. The tradition in our house was whatever you got for Christmas, you had to wear to the pub at lunchtime on Christmas Day. I've been to the pub in PJs, 4 pairs of socks, running vest and shorts, etc. Each year for Christmas, instead of writing our real names on the presents, my parents would take a random theme and assign my siblings and I a name based on said theme. For example, this year's theme is liquor and the names are Scotch, whiskey, and gin, and we have to guess who is what name. Whoever guesses correctly gets a little homemade Christmas themed trophy called the Christmas Smartest Award that they can keep until next Christmas. Oh my gosh, I love this. When we were younger, my parents had a tradition with us. We would always go out into the front yard with my dad to find the perfect pine cone. Maybe a week or two before Christmas, we planted the pine cone in a pot and watered it. Then overnight, it would become this magnificent, huge, to my young eyes, and fully decorated Christmas tree. It only worked in December and we were always told it was the Christmas magic. Then my sister and I figured it out when we found pine needles in my parents' car, haha. On Christmas Eve we are each given a present early. It's always pajamas, and once everyone has opened their present the pajama races begin. Everyone runs to their respective rooms and puts on their pajamas, then races back to the tree. There is no prize for the winner except bragging rights. Then there is a final present that has been wrapped multiple times with a ton of tape. We all stand around the kitchen table and attempt to unwrap it one at a time. Except you have to put on mittens and a Santa hat before attempting to unwrap it. The person to your left is rolling dice, and if they get doubles then you stop trying to unwrap it and pass the mittens and hat to them so they can try. This game becomes very loud and fast, so you need to keep on your toes. It keeps going around in a circle until someone is successful. The gift is always a board/card/dice game, and we play the game until it's time to go to bed. My siblings and I are all grown now, but we'll probably continue to play this with our parents until we have spouses to bring home, then make them play as well. My husband and I celebrate Bookmas. On December 26th, we get all of the book money people sent us for Christmas and buy a giant stack of books. Then we go home, change into our PJs, and spend the day reading books, drinking hot chocolate, and eating some of the snacks people gave us for Christmas. My dad's mom used to read Santa Mouse to me and my cousins. It was a book about Santa's helper who was a mouse. So for my whole life we have left out milk and cookies for Santa, and cheese and crackers for Santa Mouse. In return, Santa Mouse would put gift cards or cash into the tree itself. So after opening presents you hunt in the tree for Santa Mouse's gifts. Definitely a tradition I will carry on to my kids down the road. Something a little different I suppose. We always have lasagna Christmas Eve, day before Christmas Eve. We also open our presents Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day. But on Christmas Day we would always go to our grandparents' house to open presents with them. Leaving whiskey and mince pie for Santa and a carrot for Rudolph. Reading the night before Christmas all tucked up in bed. Having a chocolate selection box for breakfast on Christmas morning. I'm 29 and still keep these up. Can't wait to pass them down. With my dad the tradition has been that he always gives me a pair of pajamas along with whatever else. Here is a picture link. imga.com/IGR60Ikes. JPG of the ridiculous Onishi he got me last year. With my mom it's always been a tradition to go to a movie on Christmas Day, which also happens to be her birthday. It's part of a tradition we have where we watch a movie together on each other's birthday. Of course this year that's out of the question. But we are probably just gonna get HBO and watch the new Wonder Woman on the couch instead. My own personal tradition is to get drunk while watching Bad Santa. I love that movie and it's a fun one to drink along with. Please subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.